opinions and views of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Naimbag garabi, masantos siya sa labid si kayo amin. Marahin na banggi sa Indigo Boss, may gabi sa Dibok Mindanao, Visayas, ug sa Luzon. Buenas noches. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Ito po inyong Republika. Ako si Erik Espina. Bilang serbisyo publiko po ay ating ipapakilala na naman sa gabing ito ang isa na namang aspirante na tumatakbong senador sa ating Republika. At siya po ay anak ng ama ng masasabi nating haligi ng ating show business, masasabi nating isang tunay na national artist. Bagamat maraming sigurong mga alingaw dyan, pero marami po nasa puso nila ay naniniwalang ang tao, ang kanyang ama ay dapat ay talagang national artist sa ating bansa. Walang iba po hindi si Grace po. Good evening.
Hi, good evening Mr. Eric at sa lahat po na nanonood, good evening po.
Okay, alam niyo po marami nagtatanong, pagkatapos nung 2004, ano ang ginawa ng pamilya po?
Alam niyo, syempre, dahil nga nakikibaka tayo no, para ilabas yung katotohanan, ang nanay ko parang naging simbolo ng pagpapatuloy nung mga naudlot na pangarap ng tatay ko. Meron tayong mga protesta, nag-file tayo ng mga kaso, pero alam naman natin dahil sa sitwasyon noon, yung dating administrasyon, isinantabi lang nila lahat yan. So ngayon, sumama pa rin tayo sa iba't ibang grupo. Nandiyan yung grupo nila President Erap na nagmumungkahi ng ilabas yung katotohanan. Nandiyan din yung grupo ng Kontradaya, marami yon. So na-involve po ako doon. Pero habang nangyayari din po yon, naging tiga-alaga rin ako ng mga pelikula ni FPJ na naiwan niya. So magmula nung oras na yon hanggang ngayon, hanggang sa pag-a-appoint ko pagkaka-appoint sa akin sa MTRCB, tuloy-tuloy naman po yung ating ginagawa na para naman makatulong sa ating kapwa.
Sa loob ng bahay ng mga po, ano ang, kung pwede kaming sumilip, ano ang naging pakiramdam?
Siyempre, nung mga panahon na yon, hindi man natin, parang nawalan ka ng gana ba? Parang nawalan ka ng...
Disgusto?
Oo. Kasi parang ganun-ganun lang ba mawawala yung boto? Diba? Ganun-ganun lang ba na pag pumunta ka sa isang lugar, halos ilang libong tao ang sasalubong sa'yo, tapos pag nakita mo yung resulta ng eleksyon doon ay zero. Siyempre malungkot yun. Pero yung alam mo naman si FPJ, di ba? Hindi naman nagpapahalata yun eh.
Correct.
Parang masaya o malungkot, ganun pa rin siya, di ba? Hindi siya overly expressive. Pero ganun pa man, naniniwala siya talaga na dapat isulong yung kaso. Kasi nga, di ba, napakalantaran naman yung nangyari.
There were sectors, I'm sure you're aware, at that time who was pushing that your mother run for the Senate or even run for president.
Right.
How did the family take that?
Kami, I believe kasi my mom's very intelligent eh.
Yes, yes.
She's very smart. And then I think that she can handle the work. She can represent our countrymen well. But she doesn't like to.
Okay.
She didn't want to. Parang she really was so traumatized by the events that she didn't want to get herself involved in politics. Hindi niya type na sumama dyan. Kaya nga, ako yung naging tagapagsalita ng pamilya nung mga panahon na yon.
And then, para lang makakilala ng tao, no? Background. What is the background of Grace po?
Siyempre ako ay isang ina,
Okay.
may bahay, 3 yung supling ko, 3 mga anak ko.
3 na anak ninyo?
3 po.
Hindi halata ah.
Naku, salamat naman.
Sige, okay.
Meron akong 20 years old, tapos meron akong 14 at 8. Tapos
Aha.
yung asawa ko naman, nasa pribadong sektor nagtatrabaho.
Mhm.
Ako naman po ay nagtapos sa agham ng politika
Okay.
sa Boston College, pero nag-UP din po ako ng 2 taon bago ako lumipat sa BC. Nag-development studies ako doon. Nung nasa Amerika po ako, nagtrabaho po ako sa mga iba't ibang pribadong kumpanya.
Naging guro ka rin yata. Nagturo
Naging
ka din.
guro din po
Yes,
ako.
yes.
Tapos, syempre, pagdating dito, dahil nga sa nangyari sa tatay ko, tinulungan ko na yung pamilya namin, yung nanay ko in particular.
Why did you take up political science?
Interest ko, mahilig ako sa social issues.
Okay.
Siguro dahil hindi ako nakapag-artista, pero
Okay.
very public pa rin kasi ang expression ng political science, di ba?
Yes.
Parang nandun ka pa rin sa gitna ng mga nangyayari. Kaya siguro yun ang napili ko kasi nung nasa UP Manila ako,
Yes.
nahalal ako bilang batch representative namin. Tapos naging counselor ako kasi 2 taon lang naman ako doon. So, yun, naisip ko.
Why didn't you take the slack for your father? Let's say your mother decided na ayaw niya tumakbo. At that time, at that earlier time, naisip mo na bakit hindi ko subukang tumakbo? Was that in the back of your mind?
Well, it was, pero syempre yung nanay ko sinasabi, bago ka muna pumasok dyan,
Okay.
magkaroon ka muna ng public service experience. Ibig
Okay.
sabihin, para bang masyado ka namang entitled na,
Okay.
ay, porkit na anak
niya,
ka lang ni
oo.
FPJ,
So you've
no?
had to prove yourself. That's what your mother was saying.
Yeah, so of course it took a while because who would appoint me, right? I mean, not in the past administration. And I was surprised that na na-appoint ako ni Pinoy sapagkat, di ba, alam mo naman, hindi naman natin siya kinampanya openly, di
Yes,
ba?
yes, yes.
So yun.
And how was that experience when, as MTRCB chairman? I know you did a lot of good things sa
Advisory.
MTRCB kasi
Thank you.
yung mga nakikita ngayon nila, maganda yung yung mga ratings na ginawa nyo, bagong-bago.
Opo. Siyempre yung MTRCB, alam mo naman, di ba? It can be a zoo. Dahil
Yes.
the MTRCB board is a representation of different kinds of people.
Okay.
So, we're very lucky that the president agreed to put all kinds of people, not just from showbiz, but majority from show business. So, we have teachers, psychologists, housewives, and when there's an argument, talagang exciting yan. Kami kanya-kanyang pananaw. So, my role was really a mediator, a negotiator,
Grandmother?
di ba? Hindi naman, a mother naman, di
Mother,
ba?
okay, yes.
Kasi talagang, di ba? So
Oo.
parang, we always try to say, ano ba ang makakabuti para sa mga batang manonood? Kasi di ba, Eric, tayo naman.
Yes, yes.
We can watch what we want, di ba?
Yes,
Tapos,
yes.
we shouldn't really support anything censorship eh.
Yes,
So
yes.
kung hindi libelous, defamatory, or pornographic, dapat pwede yan eh, di ba? Pero sa television, hanggang age 13 to 15 lang ang tolerance natin of material that is acceptable to that age level.
Yung sa paglagay mo ng ratings, how did that come about? I mean, how was the gestation period in your mind then? What was the process?
Me kasi, I was thinking, teka muna, pag yung mga bata nasa kotse, nakita nila merong M. Alam nila McDonald's,
Yes,
di
yes,
ba?
yeah. Okay.
Pati yung kulay, alam na nila. Pag narinig nila yung sound na whatever, the jingle,
Yes.
alam na niya. So sabi ko, at least kung merong ganong klaseng branding ang classification, di ba? Na uniform in all networks. Plus, the same sound, the same font, graphics, everything. When parents, hopefully after a few years, no? Parents will already be able to say na, uy, SPG, ibig sabihin, may violence yan or something. So, we were trying to involve parental involvement here eh. Kasi, hindi mo naman pwede lagyan ng MTRCB bawat isang bahay.
Correct, correct.
Para sabihin, huwag mong panoorin yan. So, we're trying to support and pave the way towards self-regulation.
How was working for government? I'm sure this was the first appointed position you had. How was working for government?
Of course, it's a different experience, no? From
Okay.
corporate to government. Talagang in government, everything is, they call it government time, di ba? Masyado matagal. Mahabang proseso. Maybe checks and balances kasi. And I respect and appreciate that. But I think we really have to streamline certain things. Like, just to be able to roll the project, kung kukuha kami from our budget allotment, ang tagal.
Aha.
So what I did was like, mag-donate ka na lang,
Okay.
ganon, para mabilis mapalabas yung advisory, ma-approve agad.
Aha.
So, marami kaming ganong klaseng initiative sa MTRCB dahil sa liit ng budget namin na pinapag-donate ko na lang.
Aha.
Minsan nag-aabono ka pa. Pero ako naman, gusto ko rin naman kasi ang feeling ko dito, everybody naman na I've worked with, at least in the MTRCB, matino naman eh.
Oo.
'Di ba? Maybe kasi sobrang liit ng budget, wala naman silang room for temptation.
Aha. So it was all by virtue of mga kaibigan mo, contacts
Yeah.
mo, and they were willing to help you for this.
Yeah. Like kasi 'di ba, like for the ad, there's this post-production house.
Yes.
So binigay sa amin at like, I don't know, halos wala na kaming binayaran. Yung director, Carmina, let's just take this.
Yes.
Carmina and family.
Yes.
Millions to get
Oo,
them,
yeah.
diba? Sa amin,
They donated their services in short.
wala.
Oo.
Diba? So, I mean, those things, nakatipid kami.
Aha. And then, okay, so you went through MTRCB. The next step, in the back of your mind, what happened? Did Pinoy come to you and say, we need, there's an open slot for you?
Yes.
How did, walk us through.
Well, you know, Pinoy, when he appointed me, he appreciated the fact that I was able to sort of mediate things in the movie and TV industry because it can be quite chaotic, diba? So, I guess he was able to appreciate my work. We were able to exceed our target income even if our budget was cut, things like that. So he invited me to speak with him. In due respect to him, happy birthday, Mr. President.
Yeah.
He didn't naman force me. It was just like, you know, there's this opportunity and we're considering you. We heard that you might also consider wanting to...
Ikaw lang pinatawag or your family or si...
Ako lang.
Ikaw lang muna.
Ako lang.
Okay.
Forever. Never naman
One-on-one kayo?
Oo, palagi naman.
Okay.
Diba?
Oo.
Eh, yung presidente kasi, hindi yan namimilit eh. So parang, sasabihin ko, kayo po, Mr. President. Sasabihin niya sa akin, no, you really have to like it. Do you want to? Hindi, kayo po. Balikan lang kami. So, I don't know how many times. I went to Malacanang siguro from May until he announced September. So mga 5
How many
times.
meetings you had? About 4 or 5 meetings?
Mga ganon. 4 or 5 meetings with him.
So at that time, parang natutulukan lang kayo kung
Kasi the
ano ba,
president-
you were sounding out each other.
Yeah, mga 4 times nga. Yeah, parang ganon. Tapos finally, you know, I'm very confident naman with his leadership. No?
Okay.
Not to suck up to them, but
Yeah.
they sort of are little by little restoring trust
Okay.
again in the institutions. So I want also to be able to give back to our country, and I just felt that it was an opportunity that he was offering me. And so I asked him, I mean, when he went to Vladivostok in the
Yes.
APEC summit,
Yes.
he announced it, but the truth was, we didn't meet again before that to confirm. So nagulat na lang ako, he announced it. Maybe in his mind, I already confirmed.
In those 4 times that you were meeting, I'm sure the first time you met, you already talked to your mom and said, Ma'am, kinausap ako ng presidente.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom, you know, surprisingly,
Okay.
because my mom was the first one who said na, well, you better have public service experience and do well.
Which
So-
you did already.
Which I did.
Oo.
So parang when I mentioned it, my mom's like, basta I'm here to support you. And she had no objections about me joining the coalition because nga, she feels that the president is very upright.
Okay.
And that was very important for her also.
Did you talk to your immediate family, your husband?
Yes, before that naman po.
Okay,
I
okay.
had to ask my husband and also for,
Uh-huh.
you know, for the sake also of name recall.
Okay.
He was the one who suggested, you know, just use Grace Poe.
Okay.
Because anyway, you're doing this for your dad, and I understand. And he also sympathizes with my situation.
Is white your battle colors? Or blue, you know, like your dad, or
You know,
which is which?
Actually, my color is, if you look at the folder, it's
Yes.
really white, yellow, and blue.
Ito ba yung ano?
Oo.
Pakita ka natin para ito yun.
Ayan, oo. Kasi
Oo.
actually, si FPJ naman kasi po may red. May ano siya, bayan ng bida. Ganyan din eh.
Oo,
Kaya lang
oo.
may red siya.
And then yung sa likod, pakita rin natin ha. Ito. Ito yung nasa
Yan
likod.
yung,
Oo.
yan yung gusto ng mga tao.
Oo. Diba?
Yeah.
Oo.
So, yung iba po,
Oo.
Mr. Eric, syempre sinasabi na, ano ka ba naman, parang ano ba namang kandidato yan, ginagamit yung pangalan ng tatay niya. Ako naman kasi po, hindi naman sa ginagamit. Talagang, unang-una
May
yan
mga
po.
tao nagsasabi pang gano'n?
Oo naman.
Ha?
Di ba? Marami naman. So sinasabi, hindi naman marami, meron naman. Sinasabi ko, syempre, A yan ang kapital ko, di ba?
Oo.
Pangalawa, hindi naman siguro nakakahiyang dali ng pangalan niya sapagkat matinong tao naman siya.
Tapos tumitingin ka
Maganda
ng
nga.
utang na loob lang naman. Ganun lang naman sa
Oo.
tradisyon natin
So
siguro.
sabi
Oo.
ko, wag naman sana nilang masamain, intindihin naman nila. Ayoko naman magpaka-plastic. Kandidato ako, kailangan din ako magpakilala.
At baka itong mga tao na ito yung mga hindi rin bumoto sa tatay mo. Kaya siguro nagreklamo sila.
Malamang, malamang.
One. Or number two, hindi nila kinikilalang siya ang tunay na nanalo noong 2004. Yun lang naman ang mga pagpipilian dyan, di ba?
Pwede.
So, after that, you're preparing your group. You considered your finances, you considered yung mga taong lalapitan. Are certain showbiz individuals going to be supporting you?
Yes, they've already expressed their commitment.
Okay.
Earlier on, I mean, even before my survey numbers were higher.
Okay.
But of course, I would also want to, I don't want to, first of all, you only have a limited number of ads.
Okay.
So I can't really have too many ads with different messages.
Yes, yes.
So we'll probably do a social media release instead.
What is your battle cry? Are you going to raise the standard of your father, bagong umaga, or what?
Well, we have the Bagong Umaga song, no?
Okay.
But it's really, ang inumpisa ng tatay ko ay pagpapatuloy ko. Ano yung inumpisa ng tatay ko? Artista pa lang siya, tumutulong na siya.
Correct, correct.
Diba?
Oo.
So gusto niya sanang palawakin pa yung pagkakataon na makatulong sa mas maraming tao. So yun ang ipinagpapatuloy ko.
Okay. Are you adopting some of his positions?
Of course.
Ah,
diba?
okay.
And I'm sure you're
Mabuti
familiar
yung
with that.
madidinig ng tao na talagang yun ang ano mo. This is part of your candidacy. And then, when you discussed with your other, I don't know whether I call you party mates or with your other
Coalition
members. So, may kanya-kanya kayong toka yata, no?
Opo.
In your case, your focus will be what? Education?
Hindi, ako po yung
Or
focus ko, basically uplifting the lives of the poor. Diba? Yung mga kapuspalad. So kasama na kasi dyan, di ba si FPJ noon, gusto niya altanghap.
Yes, yeah.
So yung una, gusto ko magkaroon ng standard lunch program or feeding program.
Okay.
Every day, ha?
Okay.
In their program na, sa lahat ng pampublikong elementaryang paaralan. Pwede naman yan eh. Paglalaanan lang yan ng budget.
Okay.
Marami nagugutom. Pangalawa, suporta sa magsasaka.
Okay.
Kasi alam mo, ang dami kong businessmen na nakakausap.
Uh-huh.
And they're saying agriculture is a strong potential in the global market in the coming years. And we have the know-how, the capability. The problem is we're so fragmented now. Because diba, with the distribution of land, which is okay, as long as we get them together into a cooperative. Another thing is, with global warming and 5 million farmers, 200,000 lang are insured by the Philippine Crop Insurance, diba? So we have to be able to enroll more farmers there. Another thing is, the average age of a farmer is like 57 years old. Meaning, when you give those land reform titles to the family, eventually those kids will sell it and it will be a subdivision, which is not a bad thing, but it is a quick way to get money, but in the long term, for all of us, it will not be good.
Let me ask you this, no, Grace. No? What important lesson did you learn from 2004? Which I think has become part of your campaign crime, yung kontradaya. No? But anyway, sige, I want you to answer that. What did you learn from 2004?
That anything in a campaign period is precarious. Okay, things can change overnight. Not just in 2004, but in 2010. I mean, there was a time that Pinoy had such a big lead, and then another candidate was able to close in, but Pinoy pulled away. And then you have, let's say, Vice Binay, diba, with 2% awareness, actually gaining ground. There are a lot of things, and with FPJ, formidable, super popular, well-loved candidate, still they were able to manipulate the votes. So you will always have to be on your guard, and you never can take things for granted. But the biggest, as I mentioned to you earlier, your biggest investment, at least in this period, is your emotion and your time. Diba? Kasi your time is like so, I guess, booked and taken already.
How about commitments? How about friendships? How about alliances? What can you say about that? I'll ask you that question.
Filipinos, there's really a stigma to joining politics. So my friends have been so worried about it, and they've discouraged me. But I realized that a friend is a friend when after you've made a decision,
They'll
and
support you.
they'll support you, diba? They won't put you down.
Okay.
And I've seen that with many of my friends, and I'm very grateful.
How about alliances?
That's another thing, emotional investment. I mean, that's really a lot of, that really takes up a lot of your energy and your time. And being able to balance everyone, diba? Kasi, syempre, you have your personal relationships. But
Correct.
then, if you're running for public office, you also have to think, hey, what is your commitment to the people,
Correct.
diba? What is your stand? And sometimes, they're not always in line with the people that are close to you personally,
Yes.
diba? But it doesn't mean that you think less of them. It's
Yeah.
just that sometimes you have to make a practical decision where you think you will be most effective and where you think you'll be most better represented.
In terms of commitments, would it be safe for me to say na in 2004, you saw certain people na who did the Judas to your father? High up, way down there, without naming names. You are aware of it or you saw it?
I
Certain
still see them.
Certain commitments,
Yeah.
pwedeng baliin as part of the learning process.
Yeah nga eh. That's really the sad thing.
Pwedeng mangyari.
Pwede pa rin mangyari. And marami. And parang, what I really notice in politics is that there's really that bandwagon effect. And when people feel that you can be overwhelmed by certain scenarios, they tend to wage their bets on both sides, di ba? So, I don't know if that's what happened. But that's okay. Bygones be bygones. For me, if it can be proven in court, then we definitely have to pursue it.
You've forgiven all these people, in short.
Yeah. I mean, kasi you know what?
No need to live through this again, no, di ba? It's you move on.
Kasi Eric, di ba? I'm sure they've also done a lot of things for you, but then against you. But when you think about it, we personally, di ba? We didn't want naman this power, eh, di ba?
Yes,
It was
yes.
really more to help the country. And that was also with my dad.
At tinulak siyang tumakbo eh.
Oh, so parang
Ito yung mga taong nagtulak din sa kanya, di ba?
correct. Pero hindi niya pinangarap. At
Correct,
hindi
correct.
din namin plinanong pamilya namin na magkakaroon kami ng ganyang klaseng kapangyarihan.
Correct.
So nung sinasabing nawala, hindi naman namin inasam yan eh. So
Correct.
ang masakit lang sa amin ay yung kasalanan ginawa nila sa tatay ko, di ba?
Correct.
Na sana naman, hindi lang naman yan kasalanan sa tatay ko. Kasalanan sa ating lahat yan dahil boto natin yung nawala.
And I think your father, being a good candidate, because he is a good actor, you know, like show business, when there's a director, he follows the dictates of the director.
Yes.
Ganon ang nangyari sa kanya, di ba?
Oo.
Sunod-sunod lang siya dun sa mga taong nagpapatakbo ng kampanya. But I think he would have fared out better if he ran his own campaign.
Yeah, I think so. Sunod-sunod siya, pero yun nga rin, syempre may paninindigan siya,
Yes,
no?
correct. Oo.
Pero pagdating sa struktura ng kampanya, di ba?
Yes.
Kahit naman may paninindigan ka, dapat din mag-delegate ka dun sa mga pinagkakatiwalaan mo. Eh, hindi ko alam kung how that worked out. Parang it didn't, well, I know how it worked out. It didn't. Di ba?
People are curious. You're now with the administration party. How is this? Will you be able to also once in a while campaign with the other side, or how is this? Or you'll just inject yourself in certain portions of the campaign?
When I asked permission from my ninong Erap,
Yeah.
I told him the president's inviting me. He said, we will support you unconditionally. We will adopt you. Diba? So of course I was grateful. Now, when we had talks naman with they were saying na the president kasi made a pronouncement that common candidates can't
Yeah,
go
of
with
course.
others. So, syempre he's our commander-chief, diba?
siya,
He's a
of
leader.
course,
So he made that pronouncement. The only way I can see, because I really want to join
Siguro
some
in
of
your
them are my
personal
friends.
capacity na lang ang
Yeah.
paglalapitan mo, no?
Correct. Baka sasabihin ko, sir, kasi naman yung relasyon namin, and the reason why they endorse me is not for any political advantage, because as you know, I'm not a very strong candidate, di ba, compared to the others. Siguro naman, I can go to their stage and say, salamat sa suporta. Di ba? Kasi parang ano na lang yon, courtesy na lang.
Yes.
So I will try, but I will respect whatever the decisions are.
Okay, Republika will pause for a few reminders. When we come back, we'll ask Grace Poe whether we see in the horizon the possibility of her eventually joining the Liberal Party. Why not? And then we'll ask her some of the few questions that if ever she was senator, we'll ask her how she would have voted on the freedom for information, the corona impeachment, etc., etc., when Republika returns.